You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Right, Chris.
All right. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello. Welcome along to the show. This is Leicester Till I Die TV, LTID TV 1. How the devil are you? It's Monday night, and for the last night, it means it is Let's Talk Leicester. It is our last Monday Let's Talk Leicester. More about that later. We will keep you updated with that. But it's finally happened. I mean, how fucking long was this going to go on for? You know, I mean, they wanted him. They paid the release clause. What was holding it all up? But he's gone. Finally, he has gone. How will he be remembered, though? Will he be remembered as Claudio Ranieri, who was here for just over a year but won us a trophy? Or will he be a Mark McGee, seen as a Judas and going off for his pot of gold elsewhere? That's what we're going to be asking our experts. And if they can't get in on time, we've got Kate and Dave here just to back us up. But let's have a look at the facts and figures, shall we? Maresca assigned a 5-year deal. I mean, that's a joke in itself. That is a joke. A 5-year deal with the option for further 12 months at Stamford Bridge, and with Chelsea's number one choice from a short list including Brentford Thomas Frank, Ipswich's Kieran McKenna, and Roberto De Zerbi, who left Brighton at the end of the season. Does he think he's going to get 6 years at Chelsea? No. This is the club that sacked a manager within 6 months of that manager winning them the Champions League. He ain't staying anywhere, and you are replacing somebody of Pochettino's experience with a guy who likes to play pass ball at the back for 3/4 of the game. I was talking to Ankit, who's a Chelsea fan, on his he came on my channel, I went on his, and he was not happy when I told him the style of football that Enzo likes to play. And I tell you something as well. Well, I'll tell you that later because that ties in with my thing later. Hey, if you know what I mean. But agreement between Chelsea and Leicester was signed on Sunday, settling on compensation in the region of £10 million. This is from The Athletic. What Enzo said was, to join Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world, is a dream for any coach. McKay said, it is why I'm so excited by this opportunity. Are you fuck? All you're excited about is the amount of money that you're going to get. That's all that matters. He doesn't care because he knows he's not going to be there that long. Chelsea is said to be sensitive to the disruption caused by Leicester. Again, are they fuck? Ahead of the reaction to the Premier League and appreciative of the professionalism they displayed throughout. Yeah, they've got to say that, though, haven't they? It's a load of BS. But can you tell I'm not particularly overly enamored with all this? He takes 6 members of his coaching staff with him, including former Chelsea goalkeeper Willie Caballero, who was McGaze's assistant at Leicester City, Danny Walker, Michel de Bernardin, Marcos Alves. Also, Javier Manola Caballero, bit of Italian there for you. That does come with a stuffed crust, by the way. And Robert Vitello will also move to Stamford Bridge from Leicester with Marchesa. All I can say is, let me just have a look if the right one has come up there. But all I can say is good riddance. If he doesn't want to go, he can always, and if it doesn't work out for him at Chelsea, he can always get Pan to work when Chelsea sack him just before Christmas. I think he'd make a really, really good Uncle Fester, personally. The guy, I'm sorry, to me, is a wanker. Basically, yes, he's got to go for the job. Of course he has. I get that. But all this bullshit that he gave us about a long-term appointment, and he wants to, and he's going to the club that, along with Watford, gets through more managers than I get through clean underwear. Is that what he wants? No, all this bullshit. He is going for the cash. It's as simple as that. Am I right? Am I wrong? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll find out straight after this, because we'll be bringing my guests, Kate and, say Kate and Dave. You probably know them better as Dick and Dom. You work out which one's which. Kate and the top half of Dave's head. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome along. You can say I'm not overly impressed with the guy. I'm sorry, I don't even think he's that good, to be honest with you. Yes, he got us promoted, but Dave, you could have got us promoted with that team. We had the best squad in the league by far. It wasn't hard work to get us promoted. He should have had us promoted by March, shouldn't he, really? And then he went and cocked it up, and we only just scraped through above a team that only themselves got promoted from the league below a season before that. And he thinks he's going to go to Chelsea for 6 years? This is fuck. I mean, to me, he's not a Ranieri. He's definitely a Mark McGee.
I think you've said it. Oh, well, thanks very much for listening, everybody.
Well, you can disagree with me. You normally do.
No. I mean, I think he's stupid. I mean, you said earlier, he's gone to a club that sacked the manager who won the Champions League. They took on a promising young coach to give him a few years and sacked him.
Yeah.
They took on what you could call a quality manager, although he's not won anything in the UK, I don't think, Pochettino, and sacked him. And now they've gone to the championships. And that was the only people that were going to take on, by the sound of it, people from the championship. Some mates were telling me they put the season ticket prices up for the first time in about 10, 15 years or whatever. I suppose it's to pay all the compensation off. So, yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Absolutely bizarre.
I mean, Kate,
the only good news is that Enzo's going to be a bit nearer Leatherhead. He'll be based at Cobham on the training ground, won't he? Which is just up the road.
You intend to go and let his tyres down,
I was tempted to pop along and have a word, but yeah. Sure,
Kate, I could see you pulling your face when I was going through my diet trade earlier. He has gone for the 6 pieces of silver, hasn't he?
Yeah, I feel a bit like you do, like the spiel about the long-term project. And he obviously threw his toys out the pram last year a bit with the FFP situation, but he's not gone to a club that's not got FFP problems. I'm sorry. No. And if he pulls that one out the bag again, Dave, where are we going?
I'm just trying to get looking like you two. Sorry, you two, your lighting looks wonderful. Mine looks like it's God shining through.
What you mean is we look wonderful. You just don't.
Steady on.
Anyway, Kate.
But yeah, his spiel about the project, and you obviously moaned about the FFP situation last year, but he's going to a club that has also got FFP issues.
What are you doing? All I can hear, Dave, is noise.
I'm settled now.
Okay. Yeah, the Chelsea have got FFP issues as well. And I'd rather him just say, I've gone because they've got European football and I want the money.
Yeah, but
I'd have
it's the Mickey
loads of
Mouse
respect
League,
for
isn't
people
it?
who said that.
What's it called? The conference.
Hey, we would have taken it, Dave. Let's not knock it. You know,
We did. We had to twice, didn't we?
Yeah,
Or once.
I mean, it's oh, look, Dirk said, I understand why he's gone because let's face it, if he stayed at Leicester, and all those that say yes, once you're doing good, he got a 17 points clear. If he'd have done to us what Company did at Burnley, he would not have.
Who's that?
Who's that? That's your favourite player, Dave. I'll put him on.
Big Giant.
Is he looking for a manager's job?
It's Danny. Apparently, that's all we're going to be able to afford soon. But no, all joking apart, Kate. You know, I understand him going because if he got sacked, you know, if he stayed with us and took us down, we may well have sacked him in an attempt to stay up. So you do have to go for these things, but don't all do all this bullshit of when you go somewhere. Oh, I want it because it's a long-term job, and I see my, you know, something I can build on here.
Yeah, I don't like that. I feel a bit salty about it, to be honest, and I've tried not to be, but it does sting a bit, really. And I think what irks me more is that Chelsea have got a financial fair play issue, and they've spent so much money on players. They're still paying Potter, they're still paying Pochettino, and now they've paid us a sizable compensation package, and we're the ones that are getting bollocked for FFP and being restricted and trying to stay within, and are facing a really hefty points deduction this year, while Chelsea go around and just basically clear us out and just pay the ransom money. And that's what irks me more. It shows more than ever the disparity between the treatment of football clubs.
Definitely. Dave, I mean, when you look at this, like Kate said, you know, I mean, the reason Potter didn't want to come to us, I believe, and I could be wrong here, it's not often, but I could be, but I believe that he was probably still getting paid more from Chelsea not to manage them than we would have paid him to manage us.
Yeah.
I love these long conversations with you.
You know what?
It is ridiculous, though, isn't it?
Well, it's all ridiculous. The whole thing, the whole, you know, charade about it going to Chelsea, but, you know, it takes how long to sort it out? I mean, it's just a load of nonsense. Either keep quiet until it's done, or say, okay, well, you know, he's going to go, so start looking for a new manager, but we'll negotiate the contract towards the end of it.
Yeah,
it was only about less than a week since Leicester agreed he could talk to them, wasn't it?
Well, I'm sure probably
allegedly
agents were talking behind that. You know, as we would have been, in fairness, probably with Enzo when, you know, and that's what I mean. And we'll talk about who might take over later on. That we'll do that as a separate bit of the show. But if we do go for somebody that's in a job in the Championship, we're just doing to them, Dave, what Chelsea are doing to us.
Well, you know what? I'm not bothered. You're right about the quality of football. I mean, we try to put a brave face on it and say we trust the way he's playing and we do this, but it was pretty dire at times, wasn't it?
But what I was saying then, and who obviously
I know what you're saying. No, I know what you're saying, but I'm not bothered because he's gone. It doesn't matter why he's done it. He knows why he's done it.
No. But what I'm saying is, and that's, you know, you've just probably killed the whole purpose of the show now with that, that thing. Are you on a promise? You need to go early, Dave.
Well, I hope not. She's in Cumbria.
What I was saying is, and what the question is, that we will be no better if we go and get, let's say, and I don't want to talk about Corbyn before you go off on a separate thing and talk about him. We will talk about him later. But the actual thing is, if we go for him, we're doing, let's say, to West Brom what Chelsea did to us. So we're no better, really, than Chelsea, are we?
Well, so you stop all the transfers then, because that's what you're doing there as well. You know, that's not the point. I get what you're saying, but that's not the point. The point is he committed to a long-term future on a project, and he's bottled it, and he's left. And so, why say it? You know, why give us all that shit? Why just say, well, I'm coming here to try out and see what happens, and if I'm successful, I'm going to fuck off, because that's what he means. So the fact that we're doing what Chelsea have done to us, Chelsea have done nothing to us. Enzo's done it to us. Transfers is about stealing other people's players. We've had it happen to us enough times. It's no different to managers. I mean, you've said this many times. He talked about what's his face at Villa, who didn't sign a contract, who let us down. Enzo did, and we got 10 million out of it. So has he let us down, or he's given us an extra 10 million plus promotion?
Yeah.
How do you want to look at it, really?
Yeah. Kate, I'm getting a bit of an echo off somebody here. You could say the same, though. If Corberan comes to us, he's just signing an extended deal with West Brom last season.
Yeah, I mean, just following on what Dave said, that is the part of the football merry-go-round. I don't absolutely blame Enzo at all for changing jobs. It's a better offer from where he's sitting. It's just more, like Dave said, it was the promise of a long-term project. And I genuinely feel that we were the short-term fling and he was waiting for something better to come along. That, I feel like it was a bit of a sham, that all this talking of the players and rubbing their backs, and I just felt it. I feel like there's a bit of a charade with it, really. But that is football. That's how it goes. It's an offer he obviously felt he couldn't turn down. But he just, he had us believing for a bit there. But if we go in and get other managers, we're going to have to do that unless we get somebody who's currently unemployed. It's just the way the world works. It's a bit ugly. But my concern is more about Chelsea apparently are breaching FFP. They're on the cusp and they've got to have a bit of a fire sale before the end of June. So how are you allowed to then shell out 10 million to nick our manager? That's what really gets me going. I get really peed off with that. And you're still paying Pochettino and you're still paying Potter. So it just drives me insane. So
I spoke to Ankit, like I said earlier, from the Chelsea channel, and lovely man. He nearly won our quiz competition. He's been a friend of the channel for a long time, and I did ask him about this. That how do you feel? And his actual answer was, I have no idea how we're getting away with it. Because and he said if we were not one of the so-called Sky's favourite six, he feels that they would be getting done as well. But just to say that we have got a vote going on in the show on YouTube at the moment, and it is, how will Enzo be remembered? As a Ranieri, so he was here just over a year and he got us a trophy, or as a McGee. So I smile because if you ever watch Mrs. Brown Boys, you'll know what a McGee was in that example. At the moment, as it stands, 27% will say he will be remembered as a Ranieri. 73% will remember him as a McGee. So, guys, 15 votes in at the moment. Do get in and have a vote there if you haven't done yet. Let's just go through some chats here and see what people are saying. Evening again, Chris. You good? I am, Mike. How the devil are you, sir? Highfields is saying good evening. Luke from Nottingham is saying good evening. Andreas is saying hi, Chris. At least we can move forward, I think he's trying to say. Mike says, where has it gone? Hang on, it's disappeared. I pressed the wrong button there. We go. Oh God, Dave is here.
Michael.
Physically, yes. Mentally, we're not so sure. God help us. John says, Judas all day long, 3-year project, my arse. Have you seen the tactical vid on Enzo talking about his use of his goalkeeper? Chelsea fans are having near heart. This is what Ankit was saying, Mike. When they were asking me how he played, and when I said how, our goalkeeper, I mean, at some point he was in the centre circle, he was shitting himself, the Chelsea fan.
I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see this.
And I said, and in the end, I said, our defence is such a high line. I said, quite often it was actually past the centre circle in the opposition half. That's how high we were defending. And I said, and he's very, some would say stubborn, some would say single-minded. Nate says, good morning from me. Good morning to America there, Nate. Good evening to you. Enzo ain't staying at Chelsea for 6 years, just like Vincent Kompany ain't staying at Bayern Munich for 5 years. Indeed. The tea lady would have got us promoted. That's my point. You know, he nearly cocked it up, you know, and that's the thing that my Bournemouth following mate said. He said, like, you know, yeah, you're all fair how good he did, but he nearly threw it away. Pot actually improved them post-January and went and... I think they just had a disagreement. And this gets me, Dave, as well, because on that point, Poch went apparently to whoever Chico and Chico 2 are, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the two.
God, those boys, yeah.
And said, I want more control over who comes in, etc., etc. And that's what they couldn't agree on, allegedly. And that's why he went. But Enzo went and said to the Leicester board, I want to have more say, I want more control, I want to be involved more. He ain't going to get that at Chelsea, is he?
No, not at all. I was just thinking when you're talking about our goalkeeper, who we might be thinking of taking with him player-wise, if we let them go. I mean, whether they can afford it, anybody, I don't know. But he apparently seems to fit into the mould where he just does a coaching job, continental style.
But then
I find that hard to believe.
Quite right. But then Kate, is that a dog? There's lots of funny noises.
It sounded like a dog.
Sorry?
It sounded like a dog.
Yeah, didn't it? It's not just me.
Not this end.
You've got some very funny noises coming through. Will you screw your artificial limbs in, please? They're squeaking. But Kate, he wanted more control at Leicester over things, and yet he's going to a club where the manager doesn't even see. I mean, he's come out and said, I want this player already, but he's not going to get that at Chelsea again, is he?
No, and this is what doesn't compute for me. Like, he slagged us off last year and made us sound like we pulled the wool over his eyes, really. Whereas if anybody's ever applied for a job, the employer was never going to tell you about how the shit points about working there. That is the fact of life. Top didn't do the bad thing by not saying about the FFP. He's only got to look on Company's house or get one of his minions to do it for him, and he'd have seen the position that was quite precarious. So I've got no sympathy for him on that front. He knows what he's dealing with, but in reality, I really don't think he does. I don't think he's gone in there personally all about the money. I think it's purely also naivety that he thinks he's going to be the one to break the mold of Chelsea. I think there's that arrogance and naivety that probably a lot of managers have, that, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the one to change it. And you're just dealing with so many variables in that club, most of which are beyond your control. Yeah.
Dave, I mean, all right, you're saying Company there. I've got to say to Luke, at least Company gave it 2 years at Burnley. You know, he did take them up, and then he did stay with them a year, which was more than Enzo did. But it seems to be, when I'm listening to Rob Tanner speaks very highly of him, and the journos seem to think a lot more of him than a lot of the fans do.
You're asking me the impossible question. I mean, we know how we played. All right, we got promoted, but, you know, on inflection we should have done. Apart from Leeds, we were the best team in the league. So, you know, we should have gone up.
Don't do that. No. If you carry on with that, I predict we'll have a riot.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'm staggered, really. If I want to think about it, which I've tried not to, because he's got no experience, really. He's certainly not, apart from Man City assistant, where he don't have to make too many decisions. He's a coach, which is maybe why Chelsea wanted him, because he was more of a coach at Man City. They actually did play, or Leicester tried to play the same way as them, but we just weren't good enough. And, you know, we stopped playing the early type of football that we did. But I'm just, you know, for a team like Chelsea, it's like Manchester United appointing, I don't know, guy from Ipswich. They were never going to do it. They were never going to do it. Even though he's respected there and he was a coach there and, you know, whatever team, but they were never going to do it because Man United don't do that. And neither did Chelsea till this year.
it's almost, is it not, Kate? Like, we're definitely getting some feedback here. Are you sure you've not got a dog there, Dave?
I've got nothing here. I'm just sitting here with my arms folded like this. I'm not touching anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm not playing around with anything.
Well, so you say.
I've just got an empty cup of tea, and that's about it.
But Kate, it was
I'll put my earplugs back in and see what happens there.
After the Chelsea game, that was apparently when the Chelsea hierarchy started to think about him. I just don't. They've tried this with Potter of going for somebody inexperienced. By Dave. And it didn't work. And you've got somebody with the experience. All right, you can say he's not won any trophies, but he was turning it around, and he's got the experience that they hadn't got at he's got the experience basically that Enzo hasn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think that I get quite frustrated, and it makes me laugh really as well that Pep seems to live rent-free in everyone's head. Everybody wants to play Pep Guardiola style football. It's a breaking news thing, people, that there is different styles of football available that are successful. But everybody wants to play this possession-based football. That's why Kompany's held in such high regard, because he was Pep's captain for however long. Like this sort of the extension of the Bobby Robson managerial family tree. If you've ever seen that, that's where this goes. This is extending even further, but under Pep's kind of own separate planting of the tree. So it's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. And with their style of football, Pep's done amazing because he's got the personnel. But with Enzo, you can see that if he doesn't have the personnel, which I wanted him to have another window with us as well, we're getting a lot cleared out this summer, and he would have had a bit more money to spend. That I would have liked to have seen him recruit more to suit his style of play, because he's already got quite a good backbone with us. But with Chelsea, I mean, from when we saw them in the FA Cup, Sterling was hopeless. They were like all individuals. When you've got the likes of Chilwell and Fofana and those style of characters within your team, they're not going to be easy to manage. One thing you can say about Leicester for this year is that the people were probably the easiest part to manage.
Yes. Yeah.
Quality, style, and everything else needed loads of work, and some discipline needed putting in on the pitch. But there was no prima donnas.
No. And I'm not going to turn around and say, because a lot of people were moaning and saying, "Oh, it wasn't very good, nice football. It was boring, blah blah blah, and all this." I'm not going to say that, because at the end of the day, we were winning. But when you look at the games, and I think I've said this to you both a few times, Dave, that we were never all right. We beat 5. We put 5 past Southampton. We did well against Norwich, and we put 9. Surprisingly past Southampton, but it took us 2 games. But they were few and far between. Most of the games were winning by single goals, and sometimes we had to come from behind. We were not destroying teams. We were Man City Part 2, were we? Dave, you're on mute. Still can't hear you. What is it? Every week. Kate, do you want to answer that question while Dave's plugging himself in?
I can't even remember the question. I've got distracted. You said about the players.
It was supposed to be this great, Pep disciple, but we weren't playing
Yeah, it wasn't convincing football. I mean, the first part of the season was great. I think we blew people off the pitch in certain parts of that early part of the season. But he didn't have any plan B, did he? Which we desperately needed at times, because the Championship has got a much more bigger variation of teams and how they play against you than the Premier League has. It might be suited more to the Premier League, which I wanted him to test with us.
Yeah.
But it's very much a game that's based on having all the right people in the right places. Like square pegs in round holes can then make that system look really boring and like you're banging your head against a brick wall.
Hello.
You're back. When he said he's got no plan B, I think the guy was talking about you, Dave.
Oh, I've got a plan B. It's called a hammer.
Right, let's catch up with some. I've got to try and remember where I got to.
I don't know who I am, where I am.
Well, I had no idea where you are either. This is where we were. Evening, guys. Hope you're well. John says, "Is a Marty coming back?" You know what? I think he would be welcome back anytime. There we go. Let's bring him back. You know, and look.
Dave's having him round for tea tonight.
There he is. Dave's having what? Sorry.
Dave's having him round for tea tonight.
Well, I'm surprised. We'll never see him again. He'll probably end up under the patio.
I don't dislike the bloke. I just he can't play defence.
James says, threatening to walk out at Christmas was enough to show a red flag. Nobody's bigger than our club. In the words of Kevin Keegan, I will love it if we beat them. I mean, you know it's going to be the first game on the opening day, don't you? Either at our place or theirs. But, you know, it's true, as Kate said, Dave, you have to have a plan B. And yes, I'm glad that he has his idea of his football and he sticks to it, because there's no point in changing it week in, week out. If you find a winning formula, stick to it. But if that suddenly then, after a while, doesn't start to work, you need to change it. And he wasn't prepared to, was he?
Well, it wasn't for the team meeting. We probably wouldn't have gone up automatically. That sort of seems to have triggered it, doesn't it? It took Vardy to do it, allegedly. So obviously Enzo wasn't capable of doing it.
No.
And that is a worry. That's certainly a worry when you're in charge of a team like Chelsea. But good for them. They struggle like shit. Like you always do.
I asked the Chelsea fan again, Kate. I said, if Enzo has early in the League Cup been drawn against Man City or Liverpool or an Arsenal, and they lose, so they're out the Carabao Cup. They draw again Man City, in the FA Cup and get knocked out of that early January, and they're only sat mid-table. I said, is he gone? And he went, yeah. But they're not going. He's not going to suddenly turn them into world beaters. They've admired Arteta at Arsenal, but the board has stuck by him. Has he been there now 4 or 5 seasons? They've stuck by him. He's not going to get that at Chelsea, is he?
No, not at all. Arsenal are a very different outfit. They absolutely understand the merits of keeping somebody on for a long time. Arsene Wenger probably did way more than we give him credit for at Arsenal in terms of instilling the culture and ethos of the club. All Chelsea have become is a cash cow. And that's effectively what they are in the league. And I don't know how many years it's been now. Is this going to be season 3 with no Champions League? I think it might be. But that is absolutely critical. Like the Europa Conference this year, but he has to better that for financial reasons. More than anything else, the pressure will be massive now that the 7-year contracts have been banned as well, so they'll start to fade out. He is under enormous pressure to at least get European football, and since they were last in European football, you've got the likes of Villa and Spurs that have really stepped up their game and are probably going to be favourites to finish higher than Chelsea, because let's face it, they've bought bog average. If you bought Ben Chilwell for 50 million quid, I'd rather have James Justin, and I mean that. And I said that as soon as Ben Chilwell left, that Justin was the better player in my view anyway. They haven't bought quality. They've got the odd, and some of their pace up front against us in the quarterfinal was unbelievable, and some of their independent forward line was great, but team cohesion, and they've got too many bog standard players to meet the objectives that Chelsea require and need to be sustainable. Yes,
yeah. It is shortening at the moment between how will he be remembered. We've got 23 votes.
When you've said that.
Sorry?
He's died when you've said that.
Who are you talking about?
You. How will Enzo be remembered? As Ranieri is now 34 5% as a McGee is 65. So that will end just before the show does. James is in from our fellow struggling club, Everton. Evening, old James. Hope you are well. James H says here, all is forgiven if he fancies taking Daka with him.
50 million, you can have him.
I did try to offload him with Ankit the other day, but he wasn't having him. I can't see this working out at Chelsea. Many people can't. I've not met anybody other than a journalist who thinks this is going to work well.
Yeah, well, they have to, don't they? Because they get interviews with them. And you know what happened at Old Trafford when you slag Man United off? You don't get in the press room. So they've got to be a bit careful what they say. Talking about Chelsea coming out the trophies, it's not going to happen. They always get a home tie against an easy club in the 3rd round. They'll get a nice, easy home 4th round. And if there's any lower teams, an easy 5th round. So it's all fixed anyway. So Chelsea are not going to meet Man City in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. It's not going to happen. As Man United wouldn't meet Man City.
Will they get to the later stages, though, particularly with the Carabao?
Well, maybe, maybe not. But you're not going to get sacked for getting knocked out of the League Cup, are you? Or the FA Cup. You're going to get sacked for not finishing in the top 4.
But when I was saying, I was putting all 3.
I know you were, but it's not going to happen. Have we had any players say anything today or?
No, Winks was doing his good. He's a great manager to work under and all this. Yeah. But then, like if somebody said to me, "You're not going to have any player that's going to come out and say the manager's shit, are they?" Because they want to play every week.
Is Filbert still with us? Do we know?
I don't know. They haven't got. Who's their mascot at Chelsea? They might need a mascot.
Oh, a lion, isn't it? It's a lion of some sort.
John said we were the starter while Enzo was waiting for the main course. Yeah. Man City will get the punishment at some point. Chelsea.
Yeah, but when?
I mean, Dave and me were in our 60s. We may never see that.
I ain't got that long to wait,
Predator Gaming says, hello to you. Thanks for Makeza, mate. I hope I don't finish above. I don't finish above us. Thanks for
I hope you
don't finish above us next season.
I hope you don't finish above us next season. I think he means.
Yes, it would be hilarious. It would be. Love from India. Thank you so very much. Geordie's in. Hi, Geordie. How you doing? Apparently, Enzo really likes Sanchez. He does. Apparently, he said he wants to keep Sanchez. Is Dave painting?
Panting. Panting, he says.
Oh, panting. Sorry. Well, I don't know. He did disappear for a bit. What he was doing, who knows? He come back looking a bit flustered.
Washing up, John. Washing up. The wife's away.
Will you take Eddie Howe? I'd die for Eddie Howe, but look, you're talking to a guy that's spent years watching him at Bournemouth. He thinks he's the Messiah. I think he does think he's better than he is, doesn't he, Kate?
Yeah, like I said, that naivety/arrogance that he's going to be the one to save Chelsea and be the next special one. There is that. Hey, like, I can't deny. I'm just a little bit salty about it, but I don't deny anybody taking a better opportunity for themselves and their family. I think that has to be said. But I do not like the way that Chelsea go about their business unpunished. And I do not like feeling like the short-term fling while he waited for something better to come along. And he's really made me feel like that. You
don't like a short-term fling, do you, Kate?
No, mate. Not at all.
No. Make a note, Dave. Make a note.
No, I'm making a note. Trouble is, I ain't got much long term left in me. I've probably 5 years at Leicester. I'd probably break that.
But all the Enzo fans are coming in now because it's now jumping up to 38-62 for Ranieri. So the gap is closing. I mean, Paul said here, City won a lot of games by battling performances. Not all games are won dominating the opponents by playing football the Enzo way. Dave, I will actually take that a step further. Leicester won a lot of games because the opposition in the Championship finishing was absolutely bloody awful. I've done watch-alongs and I was watching many of the games, And to be quite honest with you, we came away with the 3 points, but the number of times I said their players haven't got the shooting boots on, it was awful, absolutely awful.
You immediately think of West Brom and Birmingham, don't you?
Yeah, but if they'd have the shooting boots
Blackburn,
on, we
Blackburn
wouldn't have won games like that.
No, we wouldn't. But yeah, once they sussed us out, that was the problem. It all comes back to Plan B, like you said. They sussed us out. They knew how to play us, and it was obvious from the kickoff. You know, they came at us straight away, and we couldn't deal with it. But you know, we move on.
Yeah,
as you say,
Hey,
it's Leicester.
would
We're
you-
still there in the Premier League. What more do you want?
Would you agree with that, Kate? That you know we didn't necessarily win the Enzo way. We won the 4-leaf clover way.
No, I don't think 4-leaf clover, because you don't look it for 46 games. Flipping out, he took the merit, and deservedly so, for getting such an amazing lead. And we did say we would do a blip, and we had a blip. And him and the players got us over the line. It was just about over the line, but we still did it. And we still, despite people saying we had the best squad in the league, that's still open for debate in my eyes. Because I think sometimes a lot of our best players left and people forgot about that. Yeah. But I think that it was still a really good job. And I don't think we looked it at all. I think it was hard fought. And I'm really grateful for Enzo, because when he came in last year, we were in dire straits, really. We had no direction, no idea where we were going to go, no idea who we were going to appoint. And it was such a left field appointment, but it gave us excitement because of his pedigree. So I'm hoping that Top will recruit someone like that again, that we can all get excited about. But I'm really grateful to Enzo, because he's turned some of the players around. He's brought some camaraderie back. I think the players will be quite upset, because I think they've trusted the process, they've invested their time and efforts into him, and then he's just done one at the first opportunity. I know players will expect that to a degree, but still it's a bit frustrating for people like Winks. But it was a massive, it needed everybody involved at the end, didn't it? It needed that Vardy meeting. It needed those senior heads to get involved and probably help Enzo along the way a bit, because he wasn't used to being in such a sticky spot. Man City never get into that. No,
but when we took him on, yes, I said this exactly in one of my BBC fan views. Well done, guys. Thought you might have forgotten.
How could we?
You could go that way, you can go the other way, just don't go that way.
Go your own way.
But look, lost all our viewers in Germany. Yeah, I got excited by it, because wow, this is the guy that was holding the Champions League 6 days before. And it was only after I'd sort of got the excitement, yeah, my God, it's Pep's number 2, blah, blah, blah. It's then, what's he done as a manager? This is a huge gamble and could have gone either way. And I don't think, yes, he brought the team back close together, the squad back together. I'll give you that. And you've only had to have a look at that, the way the players ran over to him sometimes when they scored, or at the end of the game, or he ran to them. That was amazing. We haven't seen that for a long time. I don't even think we really, apart from maybe the FA Cup, we even saw that under Brendan. But the fact that he brought good football, no, I've got to have an argument with that. We were not that good. If you like passing the ball between 3 or 4 defenders at the back, we were brilliant. But that was not, we got lucky. We never, apart from 2 or 3 games, we never really overpowered teams. You know, we were lucky. I have to argue with you, Kate, but we were lucky a lot of the time. If there had been in a better division than that, we would have been punished. It was because the other teams were so awful that we got to where we were. And then we went from being 17 points clear to being equal with Leeds. And we had a manager that couldn't do anything about that. It took the captain to sort it out with the players. That surely is the manager's job. And would you say the best players left?
Sorry, the best players that I think that made people think you've got an amazing squad, because Harvey, Yuri, Maddison, they were off the books. Yeah. And I think people look at our squad that went down and think, oh, yeah, these should come straight back up. And I think the reality of it was that's not the case, because beyond the first 11, There's a couple, but that's about it.
Yeah. And I think only one of those that's had a decent season is Tielemans, because Maddison was being booed by the Spurs fans, Dave, and Barnes, not saying he's had a bad season, but he's been injured for a lot of it.
Yeah, he's been injured. When he's played, he's done okay, though, hasn't he? I think, I forgot what I was going to say now, you've all rabbited on so long. I mean,
he was arguing with me, basically. He was picking a fight. And he knows what happens when that happens.
He does. And he'll lock his doors if he's sensible tonight.
No, if I'm feeling lucky, I'll leave them wide open.
That's not lucky. That's not lucky, mate. I think when Enzo came, we appointed him. Yeah, you're right. There were, who. But what he did do, he got it sorted out quickly, which we were all worried about. And we always are worried about with Leicester, aren't we? We leave it too late, last minute, and either lose the player or we don't get them at all and never look like getting them. But he got it sorted out quickly. And, whether it's him or the club or joint thing, we got some good players in. Those wingers made it, didn't they? And players like Winks, of course. And, it happened early. So they settled down. They got their rhythm early, got the friendlies out of the way. And teams didn't know how to deal with us. But we changed. We got tired, if you want. We stopped playing that sort of football. And we lost. We didn't know where to go. So from knowing where we got to play through the middle, lay it off, take the triangle, return, and we're in. That didn't happen, and that's where it went wrong. Now, you could say that's Enzo's problem for not changing it, or the players for not doing their job properly. But whatever happened, it was going wrong. But I think overall, he got us promoted. He had 2 years to do that, didn't he? And he got us promoted in one.
Okay, well, before we move on, let me ask you this question then. Because again, it's still 68% that he's a McGee, not a Ranieri. Kate, I'll come to you first. Will you remember him when we look back at Leicester? When you're Dave and my age, and you sat there with curlers in, and your stockings around your ankles, and you.
I'm not like that now.
We can't see, so
not Laura Batty over here.
I couldn't think of her name. Laura Batty, that was it.
Show us your ankles.
But when sorry, keep going.
We digress.
A bit of ankling is anybody's. But when you eventually become like that because you're young and beautiful at the moment, how will you look back on this? On Enzo's year, when you look back, will you remember him as somebody that came in and saved us, or somebody that literally walked out at the first attempt, as a Ranieri or a McGee?
Can I say a McGeary?
No. It's a 50.
I think he's done a great job in getting us back promoted. It's so difficult. Like, you'll be one of the first there, Chris, to say how difficult the league is to get out of, and then now you're saying it was all about luck. So you can't fluke 46 games of the season. It doesn't matter that we threw away that lead. That lead is irrelevant. The bottom line is he got us up at the first time of asking with zero experience, and we took a punt and it paid off. And fair play to Top, fair play to Enzo, and fair play to the players. They all bought into the concept. But what I am sad about is that Enzo didn't fall in love with us. I'm really sad about that. It was an emotionless tenure. It was short-lived. I felt like the bit on the side, the short-term fling. And
you feel used and abused, don't you, really?
I feel used and abused. I feel like he just didn't give a shit. There was I feel like there wasn't even a glance over the shoulder or a pause before his decision. And I know a lot of people perhaps watching this who aren't Leicester fans will think, well, of course, if Chelsea come along, you're not going to say no. But I would have just liked him, like Company's done, to just have a season with us to see what he could have done, what he's built. And he's done all that hard yards, which has been a real painful 12 months in so many ways, to kind of right some of the wrongs Brendan did, and that absolute joke at an appointment in Dean Smith at the end of the season in the Premier League. He had a lot to build and a lot of tears to wipe up. And I just would have liked to have seen him want to push that on, because he won't get 12 months with Chelsea, I don't think. And that's the hard yards of the management side of things, building that infrastructure that you want to build upon to progress and succeed. And I just don't think he'll get that. And if he really thinks he will, he's flipping stupid.
I'm glad I didn't ask a question with more options, and that would have been here till midnight. You did the
I am verging on the McGee.
Right, I'm going to say that was a Dave answer, because you spent 5 minutes to answer it and I didn't know what you were saying.
I don't want to sound an ungrateful cow, because what he did, he perhaps took a job that nobody else wanted.
It was his job.
But perhaps nobody else wanted it. I can't imagine he was first choice. And I don't believe he was Chelsea's number one choice this time around, by the way. I think that's BS. But
you're going for you're erring on the side of McGee.
Yeah.
Dave, have I got time to go and walk the dog?
Yeah, I think so.
He tells us off when we give a short answer. He tells us off when we give a long answer.
And it was his dog that was barking.
Don't call her that. She won't be very pleased.
That's why he's left his door open.
Yeah, he's certainly not a Ranieri, because he won the Premier League. He's more of a Franco Farrell.
You're going to bring a third option in. You know, you
got
one.
O'Farrell.
I knew he was going to do that.
Well, O'Farrell won us the League Division 2, which is now the Championship, and then buggered off to Man United. And look where that got him. So he's a Franco Farrell.
You can't have that. That's not one of the options.
What's
it's
the option?
Part of our story, but not of our heart. I think that's the way.
I actually said on the radio show this morning, I said, if anybody wants to see the station manager in person, come on. He's on the show tonight, which means God knows where the show will go. Because when Dave's on it, we never have any idea what direction it's going in. It's like Dave getting into your car and throwing the sat nav out the window.
You didn't tell me you didn't tell me how to know what I was talking about. You just said, "Come on and have a chat."
That's very, very, very true. But that's two of us then.
I'm with Kate though. I'm with Kate.
As a Mary or as a McGee?
I'm with Kate on it. I'm mixed. I'm grateful he got us out of the Championship, because it is a tough league.
One. You've got there's no choice. There's no choice. You've got to go for one.
Definitely not a Ranieri.
All right, so you're going for him as a McGee then.
Well, he's not a Ranieri.
Which means you're going for him as a McGee. If he's not a Ranieri and you've only got a choice of two.
It's where I am, Dave. It's too extreme.
It is. Yeah, we need a middle line.
It's not a case of like you've got a choice of black and white. You've not got a choice of light grey and dark grey. Like you've got black or white. You two have gone for McGee. You realise this is probably the first time we've agreed on anything in all the weeks we've been doing this show.
I'm not ungrateful. I'm not ungrateful.
No, that's not part of the. Where does it say, how will Enzo be remembered if you were not being ungrateful? It's not. It's how Enzo will be remembered. How did you two do in your exams at school?
I didn't ask you such a shit question.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if it was a multiple choice, you'd have probably coloured 2 boxes in, wouldn't you?
No, they've gone for C.
Stupid answers.
Definitely gone for C.
Did the Titanic sink or did it make its way to America? Well, I thought it was a lovely ship.
Actually, it made its way partly to America, so you've fudged yourself there.
Indeed.
But the fact that it sank. Right, you've all gone for McGee.
I know what he's thinking. Bloody hell.
I give up. Thank God we're having a break from this. We'll be back with the second part of the show if I've still got the will to do it.
There's 2 parts.
Even Jamie Vardy agrees. Look, snake indeed.
Snake.
Yeah. Cheers, Luca. Leicester City giving him the tools to do the job. The club owners put their necks on the line for him. James, I agree with Kate there. Yeah, only because you're buttering up to her, James.
I'll take it. Don't be jealous.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
would if Kieran hadn't decided to stay at Ipswich, would Chelsea have gone for him? That is the question.
It's a good
Good point. Yes.
Good
But you
point.
didn't give us a multiple choice answer, James. He was clearly not convinced with the resources that were being offered at Leicester, along with the points decision. I just hope. To me, it just reeks of Kante. I love Kante for what he did while he was at the club, won us the Premier League, but he left at the first opportunity. And whether, again, I don't like the way that Mahrez left us, and all the striking and sitting at the airport and all that. But again, he at least gave us another season, So here we go. Are you ready for this? They had a poll, or they're still doing the poll. It changes daily.
Well, look, come on, Family Fortunes.
You're going home with nothing then.
That's what they said.
Yes. If the answer's there, I'll give you your money myself.
Where do the polls come from? Apart from Poland. Yeah, but what they got to do with it?
That's Levski.
Yes.
Put your big pole in, your big pole out.
Don't forget Kaputska.
Oh, Kaputska, yeah.
Yeah. But basically, the Leicestershire Live did a poll, and it's an ongoing poll, and they asked, did you realise that they took a poll at a local fire station, and they took a poll and all the firemen fell through the hole in the floor? Anyway.
I was about to say they've done a poll on Leicestershire Live and it's still going because of all the bloody pop-ups.
No, I know. That's a
minute. Oh my God, it gives me a headache.
I think we've hit a sore point here with Kate. Right, they basically said, who do you as fans want to have as your manager? And they listed the managers, Kate. They didn't say, you tell us who. They actually listed the managers and said, you have to choose between the managers that are listed. Don't make up somebody that's not on the list. You've got to have who's on the list.
Who says that? Who says that?
Who made up that rule?
Yeah. We can say who we want.
Fix.
No, you can't, because if you want to say what you want, I can just do this.
That just makes everyone
and
think
I can still say what I want, but just to myself.
Exactly. Which is usually your case, isn't it? But anyway, these are how people are voting for fans who they want to be the next Leicester manager. And I think you can probably know the way that this is going. Graham Potter, no club, most recently Chelsea, 45%. Carlos Corberán, 14%. Ruud van Nistelrooy, who wasn't one when I did a show with Craig. I didn't even include him because he wasn't even on the betting. And Craig said about him, and then the next day he was on the betting. But he got 13%. David Moyes 13%, Steve Cooper 5%, Mark Robbins 5%, Carrick 2%, Oscar Garcia, no please, 1%, Will Still, fuck off, no way, 1%, the Queen's Park Rangers manager 1%, and the guy from Union Berlin 0%.
Who's Mrs. Fisher?
She used to be. She. We never know these days.
We could have the first female manager. That'd be a thing, wouldn't it? The first female Premier League manager.
Yes, they've got the first transgender manager. I think it's in the conference or one of
there. But first female, that'd be cool.
I thought you were telling a joke then. I thought you were about to tell one of the Chris style type of jokes.
No, I wouldn't do that. Got a reputation to think of.
Really? Who told you that? I've told you before. I've read all about you on the toilet walls at the radio station.
My mother.
Next to the bus stop, Willis.
And she's dead.
Talking of mothers. Hello, Mrs. Blakey. How you doing? Kate, you've seen who's on there, and I'll tell you what. Let's have we'll have a look at the list, the betting list.
Make up your mind. Come on.
What are you going to do?
Between decisions, which we'd never asked.
I'm Brendan, and I can't decide one way or the other. Look, who you see the list there, and they're most of the ones that are in there. Who who is your, say, 2 or 3 that you would be interested in?
Did you say me then or Dave? Sorry.
I said Kate, yeah.
Okay.
I think
Ruud van Nistelrooy for me. I love young, exciting managers, and I think he did a decent job at PSV. Carlos Corberan, I think West Brom played really exciting football last year. They didn't quite have the quality, and they didn't quite gather enough consistency to push into those auto spots. And probably Steve Cooper. I really like Steve Cooper. I think he probably has learned a lot from his Nottingham Forest experience. And I think he'd be very different with really good owners.
Interesting. Dave.
So can you have 3 people then? Kate seems to have taken off the list.
You didn't he? So I've just gone for a few.
Oh, did he?
You don't have to be on the list. You can just your 3 that you think you would like.
What about my mate from Fulham, who I said we should have appointed last year? What was his name?
Scott Parker.
Yeah, he's
Scott Parker. Until I see you apologise in the green room and pray for my forgiveness, you're not coming back. You're taking a time out and you're going to stay out there.
I didn't even say his name.
You know, you didn't have to. You didn't have to.
I mean, Graham Potter, we don't think would do it anyway, so that's a pretty pointless vote because of the money. I mean, yeah, Ruud would be a good choice. I mean, we murdered PSV, didn't we, in the whatever trophy it was, the UEFA
I don't know
or
if he was there then, to be honest with you.
I don't think he was he?
No. He was only there 1 season, but he won
Yeah, no,
the FA
I don't think he was there then. And they came on a treat, but Moyes, no. Cooper, funny face. Yeah, don't fill you with confidence,
You
really.
can go for accusation, you can go for other people, Dave.
Are
Are you being serious about
who?
the Cardigan man?
Nah, of course not.
No.
Pochettino, I think I'd try and go for. I know he won't, but you know, I thought he was doing all right at Chelsea, considering the crap he had to put up with to start with.
I can't even imagine the shock that would cause if Pochettino came here and we did a swap.
Wouldn't it be brilliant? Well, we did it with Tottenham, didn't we? With Maddison and.
So you don't have to go for a third, but you've gone for Ruud van Nistelrooy and Pochettino.
Yeah, I can't see anybody else in there that's done anything, really. I mean, Potter's not done a lot.
What do you want them to be able to do this season? What's your objective?
Well, obviously 40 points this year.
Or 27.
Well, yeah. Depends how many we get deducted, but it'd be nice to obviously stay up. But then we said that, didn't we? But last time this happened, look what happened then. But,
okay, well, let's have a look. You see,
I got Sam Allardyce on there.
Is that who you're going for? Right, Sam Allardyce.
No, over my dead body.
You're not getting away with that one.
Over my dead body.
Sam Allardyce.
Who else we got? Okay. Michael Carrick.
I had a show last night, in fact. There was myself, there was Anton from Ant's Leicester Fan Channel, Josh from Sportsa, and Jack from The Final Whistle. And they all wanted Corberan. And when I said about my choice, one of my choices, he's got no Premier League experience. But then Corberan's got no Premier League experience, has he? You know, so, but anyway, I'm going to get if Corberan wants to come, for me, and this is I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all, Kate. You know, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Let's face it. Again, it's a name, isn't it? You know, it would create the buzz that we'd probably need at the moment. A bit like when Enzo came. Dave Pochettino, we can't afford him. I don't think, can we? Really?
Depends how pissed off he is with Chelsea, doesn't it?
It would be nice if he came in though, and he said, "Look, don't pay me. I'll come and work for nothing. I just want to get you above Chelsea." That would be nice. Now, the ones that I'm going for. Now, please don't shoot me. and I'm really glad that you can't throw me out the chat because you're not going to agree with a lot of these. First of all, I know Kate will agree with me first because I said Steve Cooper. I don't think he would be a bad option. To me, our main focus this season is staying up. It's got to be. I mean, I know Luke from Leicester City Down Under the other day said he wants us to finish top 10, but I don't know what he's drinking, but I'm going to have some of it. But we've got to stabilize. We've got to finish 17th, and then maybe the season after 14th or something like that. So it's all about stabilizing, isn't it, Kate? And I think Steve Cooper could do that. Not going to say that, but then again, who knows? We didn't know with Martin O'Neill, did we, what was going to happen? But I think he could do a job for us. The other one I was going to go for was Mark Robins. Now, I know everybody will say, oh, Steve Cooper's been at Nottingham Forest and Mark Robins has been at Coventry. Who gives a shit?
Mark Robins played for us, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but, Wes Morgan was from Nottingham Forest, and yet he's one of ours now. So, he's a blow, exactly. So don't come to and throw the fact that, like, Steve Cooper can't do us because he was and apparently Steve Cooper, the rumours are, of course, he's turned down Burnley because he wants the Premier League. And it did say in one of the papers today, or one of the online editions of the papers, that he is quoted as saying, if Leicester were to come for me, I wouldn't say no.
But who would?
So, there we go.
Exciting projects, though. I know people feel a bit doom and gloom about it with the FFP situation, but you've got to remember that Everton and Forest are in there, and I can imagine others will be dragged into it as well. We're not going to be on our own with points deductions.
No. The thing with Mark Robins is he's been at Coventry about 8 seasons now.
Yeah, a long time.
He's taken them from the depths of despair in the 4th tier with no home ground to play at. I mean, look at Leicester's history and some of the things that the managers had to put up with, rape allegations at La Manga and smoke alarms being set off and all that. He could come in, and the Leicester job would probably be a doddle to him. If he can do what he has done with a team that hasn't really had, or a club that's not really had much to spend, get them to within a toenail of knocking Man United out of the FA Cup and being in that final, he deserves a chance, I think, at a Premier League club. He would be my second choice. Here's where you get to hate me and you call me all the names under the sun and stick 2 fingers up at me. My number 1 choice, probably equal number 1. And I know Dave's going to hate me for this because he's already said no to him when he was looking down the list. David Moyes. Now, you pull your face, and I understand why you pull your face, right? West Ham fans have been absolutely deterred. They've hated him this year. They want him gone. They're so glad. And now he's gone. They're completely underwhelmed with the guy that's coming in, Lopacino or Lopileg or whatever he's called. They're completely uninspired by him. But look what he did. He went into West Ham the first time. He kept them up. They then didn't keep him on at the end of that season. He then came back again when they were in trouble, kept them up. He's then turned them around and made them into a top half team, got them into Europe, won a European trophy, something that Brendan wasn't able to do. And because they finished mid-table this time and they've sacked him. I think, I'm not saying again that he would be the manager for the long term, as in 8 years or whatever, but for a 2 or 3 year contract to keep us up, to get us stabilised again as a Premier League club, I think he could be the man. Thoughts, Kate?
Well, you threw me out last week when I said he was too old. I think he's too old for our project. I don't think he's too old to be a manager, but I think the appetite, we need someone who's really hungry because it's a difficult proposition that we're offering. There's really good rewards and there's really good backing from the board. Some of the nicest facilities you'll ever work in, and I can hands down bet you it's the nicest ownership you'll ever work with. So we've got some good points, but the bad points, I think, need a lot of hunger, a lot of appetite and a lot of effort. And I just think for me, that looks like a guy under 50. I don't mean to be ageist, but that's the reality of how I see it. Or around that sort of, someone who's hungry, like Robins. I don't know how old Robins is. Robins is probably in his 50s, but he's never done Premier League.
Robins is 54.
younger. I just feel like Moyes would perhaps see it as a step down, and I'm not sure how that would whet his appetite enough. But
David Moyes is younger. He's younger than you and me. Absolutely, according to Kate, we might as well pack him now and just jump into that grave outside.
I'm not saying it's all for management. I just think our job, what we need, there's a lot of effort, and you need to. I feel like Moyes would be a step down for him, and I'm not sure he'd have the appetite for it. That's all, because not because he's too old to do the job, but because he's done a lot. And I just don't think it'll whet his appetite enough. But if we were to hire Moyes, I wouldn't be upset about it. I think he's a really established, great manager. I'm so sad he got the poison chalice of Man United, because I think if he was still there, it would be so different there. He's a great bloke. He's a nice guy. He's very dedicated, and he too likes loyalty. So a lot of our personality traits as club and manager probably do line up. And it would be nice to hire someone who is not his first rodeo.
Yeah. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Would you have? He's got Premier League experience, like teams up. Others, people are shouting for a senior. I don't know why. What's he done? Absolutely nothing. Corberon really hasn't done anything either. But let me ask you this though, Dave. Do Leicester, what they've done in the past is they've always gone for the best manager that they could get, whoever that happened to be. Do they do that again, or do they go? And I understand this is why they might be going for Corberon, because he's very, very similar in style to Enzo. So would it be beneficial to Leicester to go for Corberon because he will play the same style, so there won't be a lot of changes? Or again, do you go with somebody with experience? Because if we gamble and get it wrong and we get relegated, the EFL are waiting for us like the child snatcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and they're willing to do everything they've got.
If they can. But I don't think he's the same style. When I've ever seen West Brom, they've not played like Leicester. I mean, they didn't play like Leicester at Leicester. You know,
I read.
Yeah, they're crucified us.
It's a similar sort of style.
I'm not so sure it is. I'm not so sure it is. But you know, I wouldn't mind about Moyes. Wouldn't bother me either. You're right. I mean, you can't knock his achievement at West Ham, and but the fans didn't like him because of the football. But then West Ham have got this thing that they play nice football. Well, I can't remember. Probably the 60s was the last time they played nice football.
To play the West Ham way.
Yeah, I mean that's no such
like
thing
that
anymore.
Last season, weren't we? With Enzo, we were winning, but we didn't like the way we played, so it was bad. You know.
No, I mean we played the Leicester way in the 70s and won that all. So you know that's no kind of thing.
John says there, Dave, Potter won't come. Rumours are he's waiting for the England job. And again, I have read that he is waiting because Southgate, obviously, after these Euros, he said before that he wasn't going to re-sign a new contract with England. Would Potter get that, or do you think Eddie Howe would jump over him?
Well, neither of them have really proved their worth, have they? I mean, they've won nothing. Why would they get the England job?
Someone said recently to me, which is quite a good point, Potter's in danger of having too much time out to becoming irrelevant.
Good point. Excellent point, Kate. Yes.
It's the catch-22 for him. He's on super money, and we won't match that money that he's being paid at Chelsea at the moment.
Yeah, but you know what, Kate? You know what he's doing? He's going out around the world looking at styles of football. So if he gets an interview for the England job, he'll be able to tell them all about other teams, just like Enzo did at Chelsea, all about the players we've got. He'll be studying it all.
Well, that's what
he's not doing the doing.
Sorry, Kate.
I said I don't doubt that, but he won't be doing the doing.
That's what Eddie Howe did at Newcastle, wasn't it?
You can eat a cake a day. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to bake the cake.
I
think she's saying we're fat, Dave.
She's saying
that's what Eddie Howe did before he got the Newcastle job. He went round. At least with Eddie Howe, he's got teams promoted. He took a team from the 4th tier to the Premier League, and he kept them in the Premier League.
Yeah,
kept Brighton in the Premier League, but I don't think he got them promoted, did he? So he hasn't actually done anything, so I don't know. But I tell you what we'll do.
Eddie
We'll
Howe
look
would
at
come to Leicester, will he? I mean, why would you?
no, but I was thinking Eddie Howe for the England job is what I meant.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm thinking like Cooper's waiting for the England job, but as Kate made a very good point, well, they're looking at, well, Eddie Howe's, he's a manager at the moment,
I don't know about
that having European experience as a manager isn't the best thing. Look at Roy Hodgson.
Yeah. Well, he was an international manager, wasn't he, as well? And that didn't help him.
Yeah, no. Well, let's have a look, shall we, at let me just bring this up. At the odds to be the next Leicester manager. Now, there's 22 people on it, I believe. There's some interesting names. Sorry?
22 people?
Yeah.
Well, if you bet on them, they're on there, aren't they?
Am I on there?
I've only gone down to 50-1. I've not gone any further
100-1K.
down. Do you remember when Nigel left? I think it was when Nigel left us the first time, and every day you woke up to another favourite for the job. And I photoshopped my name onto the thing one time and posted it. It was like, who's this foreign? Has he got any experience? I haven't heard of him. Where's he managing? But I've gone down to 50-1. Dave's favourite is in there at 33-1. So let's have a look. Here they are. So we'll start at the bottom. David Wagner, 50. Scott Parker and Keatel Dunstan and
that's
Daniel Farkate, 33. Look, you like Scott Parker, mate. We've got it on tape. I'm going to be clipping it.
Yeah, right.
Michael Carrick, 25. Potticino, 25. Struber at 25. Carlos West at 25. Will Still, who apparently is only ever good at managing on FIFA, at 20-1. Cambiasso, now there's an interesting one at 20. And then on the serious side, we got Rob Edwards of Luton, 16. Mark Robbins, Coventry, 16. The guy from QPR, 14. I hope he doesn't get the job just because I can't pronounce his name.
Cifuentes, he was on LA Law, wasn't he?
Was it? I've no idea.
Yeah,
Senior, and I don't know how Senior's there at 14. Sari's still on at 12-1, but apparently he said and we're not going to get Sari, to be honest with you, but he said he doesn't want it. Moyes, 10s. Van Nistelrooy's Potter at 7s. Oscar Garcia at 6, Cooper 5-2, and Carlos Corberán is the favourite at 9-4. We've got 10 million, Kate. Why don't we just say, look, if Corberán's going to be the fan, I would not be upset, although of my others that I've said, I would not be upset if Corberán got that. 10 million would very much help us with the PSR, FFP, PPI, whatever it's called at the moment. But from that 10 million, we could probably go and pay a decent amount for Corberán.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know what sort of clause they'd put in a West Brom contract. I can't imagine they'd expect the Premier League to come in for him. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I've always got faith in the club. I know we've had a lot of noise around the board and people's faith in the board, but I've never lost faith in the board. I think they've made mistakes and I think they're being made to pay for them. But I'm happy with any of those. If Top's happy, I'm happy because I do actually trust the recruitment process when it comes to management.
I trust the recruitment process generally, to be honest with you. I'm not into this John Rudkin hate at all because a lot of people said on
Twitter last week that because there was a King Power race day, why aren't they all sitting around the board table talking about recruitment and replacing Enzo? Well, why? As if
they probably were. They probably were at night.
Yeah, but also, like, you've got to talk to these people. So you put your sort of minions out there to put out the feelers and get them in and have phone calls and Zoom calls. Like, you can still go to a race day, which is sponsored by our company.
Yes.
And people think today, I think the statement that's on LCFC online says we will now begin recruiting. So people are like, they've not even been looking all week. Well, they can't say that they've been looking for the past couple of weeks because Enzo hasn't officially gone until today.
No.
You've got to be smart about your communication. So
and when we got Enzo, we didn't approach him the day after he'd lifted the Champions League and got him into our club within 5 days. We would have been speaking to him, or agents would have been speaking, wouldn't they? Behind the scenes.
Yeah, they'd have spoke to Enzo before Pochettino got sacked. because that's how Chelsea do it.
Yeah.
That's all. It's how football works. You've got to have your ducks lined up.
Yeah.
I trust the process. I trust Top. I think Top will have learned a load about recruitment this time around because he picked a diamond in the rough. Let's be honest. He picked somebody who turned out to be really good.
Yeah.
And he obviously could marry the two up, the players and the manager strategy. So let's hope he can do it again, knowing what type of squad we're going to have left over before the transfers.
No board, Dave, go out and buy on purpose a bad manager or think we'll sign him and he won't work out. And they don't go out and on purpose buy a bad player or a player that isn't going to play well, if you like. So you've got to trust the board and you've got to hope that they get it more times they get it right than they get it wrong. Oscar Garcia wouldn't cost us a penny. Not that he's out of a job, he's in a job at obviously our sister club, OH Leuven. Took over them when they were in the relegation zone, took them to 10th, which is their joint best ever in that league. Anybody there? Well, we know that, Scott Parker, Frank Lampard, they're up there with your favourites. But, I mean, I've got to say, I don't think once you get past... I think it's got to be somebody on that left-hand side. Rob Edwards at Luton. He has just signed a new contract, so it's unlikely to. But somebody like that would be. You've got to take a punt, haven't you? But surely the main aim has got to be staying up.
Yeah, and if you're saying that, then you've got to look at Steve Cooper and David Moyes, really, if that's the aim, because you've got a better chance staying up with them two than any of that lot on the list. Yeah, really.
I know we're quite made me feel doom and gloom because obviously we've lost Enzo. We don't know what's going to happen with the FFP punishment. There's players out of contract. Like you feel like you take one step forward, two steps back sometimes in the sort of state of flux that we're in at the moment. But I think still outside of the obvious big clubs in that league, Leicester are still a very exciting opportunity for someone to apply for. And there'll be some random applications, I'm sure, because everybody says how great it is to work at Leicester. And there's most people who leave, including players, often say there's never another Leicester because of the respect and courtesy given to you by the owners. And I feel like we're one of those clubs that everybody wants a bit of a taste of. They know they're not going to perhaps win the Premier League, but it's a club that has a lot to offer.
Yeah. Neil says Steve Walsh with Matt Elliott, managerial experience, first job to try and keep us in the Premier League. No, thank you. Joe Smith, Simon Grayson. At one point, I would have loved Simon Grayson. He did reasonably well at Leeds, but again, as they always seem to do, they lost in the playoffs, didn't they? And Elias says none of these candidates care a jot about Leicester. Did Alex Ferguson care a jot about Man United before he went there? Did Pep care a jot about Manchester City before he went there? I think the answer on both of those is no. And I think we look at this betting. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. Nobody saw Nigel Pearson coming back for the second time. He wasn't even in anybody's thoughts. Nobody thought about Ranieri coming to us. He was completely left field. Enzo, did anybody really have an idea about Enzo? No. So it's going to be somebody left field. It might be somebody on that list. Who knows? I'm going to ask you though, and again, it is a case of one name. Who do you want? If you could have anybody on that list, who would you want, Kate?
Anyone on that list? Oh gosh.
Yeah, me too.
The sound of silence. Can you hear that, fellas? It's the sound of a woman's brain working.
That I really like. There's four that I really like. The four are Cooper, Potter.
No. I didn't say that wasn't the question. The question is, give me a name.
So it's on the list. It's not who's going to be available.
Who do you want?
Pochettino.
You want Pochettino.
Yeah.
Thank you. My God, Dave, look, Dave leaving you behind there, Kate, and going out for an answer.
I want Graham Potter, but he ain't going to come.
Well, no, but you can't use that.
I want Pep Guardiola, but he ain't going to come.
But he's not on the list.
Neither is Pochettino.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. I didn't even see him there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Pochettino. I'll go with Dave. Pochettino.
Okay. Now, this is
You're
going to be
looking left,
interesting
aren't
then,
you? Instead of
because
right.
we've got
left
Potter
instead of right. I'm sure it's
and
left.
Pochettino. Those are the two that you would love to come in and manage the club. And I understand both of those. Yes, let's be honest with you. We would be absolutely ecstatic if somehow Top could, get some money to pay for them. I agree with both of those.
Thank you.
Now, who you think will get the job?
No idea.
It'd a groan.
No idea.
I genuinely think it's none of them. I just think we're going to go left field again.
Ooh. It's exciting.
Tell you
Isn't
who's
it?
not on that list, and I don't know why he's not on that list. De Zerbi.
Oh, yeah.
He has not been mentioned once.
How odd.
And I tell you who else isn't on that list as well.
Cambiaso's on there.
Yeah. And who else? Thomas Frank isn't on that list either.
Cambiaso was at Wembley for the Champions League final.
Up here for thinking.
So he's in the country.
And of course, King Power have got homes and whatever you in London, haven't they? This is setting the conspiracy theories.
There's horse counts paid, and we own horses.
Would you go for Thomas Frank now, because he didn't have a very good season, did he, at Brentford?
I still would, yeah. Absolutely would.
Totally.
Especially because they lost their talisman, didn't they? Like with Tony out for so long and having to integrate him back in, like that's really tough. Yes.
But I'm surprised that they're both not on it.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe the bottom of the list, below it.
Yeah, and in fairness, although I said that was all as far as Sky Bet went. They didn't go any further than 50. Leave it there. Let's make this the last point.
Who did you think would get it, Dave?
Who I think would get it?
Yeah, who do you think will get it?
Corbury.
Do you?
Yeah.
I would agree with Dave there, but then Dave did say that he doesn't play. I thought I'd read somewhere he played the same style.
Well, I've not seen West Brom play the same style as we have, to be honest. I mean, maybe they might have done to start with, but then it wasn't going very well, was it? So they changed their style, which is probably what we wanted. So,
Carol says there it could be somebody out of the blue. Look, we're going. Everybody's friend who's a cleaner at the stadium will be seeing somebody turn up to have a chat.
Would you have Farker? Because I mean, he's a miserable old sod, isn't he? Right?
No, I wouldn't touch him on a large pole.
He want to leave. He's not going to stick around. I think they're going to lose about 15, 20 players.
Yeah, he can keep a team. He can get a team promoted, but he can't keep a team, for my mind, in the Premier League. And, you could say, well, he wasn't given any money, blah, 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 with Norwich. Well, he wouldn't be given much money with Leicester, so that would be the end of it. Elijah, there. I mean, again, totally left field, Christian Fuchs. But has he got the... I mean, he's coaching at the moment under Dean Smith at Charlotte in America. He's told Dean Smith to get off him a few times, but apparently he won't. But sorry, but you've got. I don't think Fuchs again has got the experience we need at this level. Yes, come in possibly as a number 2, but not to sort of come in and take over. I don't think. In a normal season, possibly, but this is not going to be a normal season.
No, I'm going to say you're assuming it's his next door neighbour.
It is actually, yes. You just dropped me a very nice Greg's bag off with things in.
Cider, probably.
What's the next door neighbour you've got?
A daughter, I know a granddaughter works at Greg's.
Do you know they're releasing yard-long sausage rolls?
No, I don't. That wouldn't fit in that bag, unfortunately. But there will be sausage rolls. You know, now you're dreaming there, Dave. That's your fisherman coming out in you. Very, very last point. Then we're favourites for relegation, guys, which I guess really isn't surprising.
At what price? Do you know what price we are?
No, I know we're 2,001 to win the league.
Oh, that's that all.
Yeah. Well, no one's going to go 5 again, are they? But you can understand us being favourites to go down, can't you?
All the 3 favourites, are they?
Noise about us.
The 3 that came up favourites to go down, are they?
No, it's us, Southampton at the same odds, and I can't remember what the odds are. Everton, sorry, James, Everton are the 3rd. I mean, again, you look at a different company, you'll get different odds. Do you know what I mean? But this was the one I was looking at. Everton, Ipswich are 4th to go down. So
that's crazy. They should be first to go down, shouldn't they? I mean,
do you think
they got the same players from the League One? Southampton should be all right. Leicester should be all right, depending on the points, of course. But yeah, I'd have had Ipswich to go down, if any of them.
If any of them, indeed.
Yeah. They're everyone's fairy tale at the moment. So in betting, people will be like, "Oh, they're going to do it because they really want." Everybody in the Premier League hates Leicester, so they'll really want us to go down. So they'll pile on.
Shame.
I do think that because they think that we've cheated, bit rich really, and they think that we've cheated the Championship. Yeah, and they'll think that fair. Yeah, you deserve to lose, Enzo. Blah blah blah. The people will pile onto it, which has probably made us favourites plus the points deduction.
Has anybody actually proved anything yet?
I think it's still quite isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, we haven't literally. It's the 30th of June is the end of the
so it's speculation, which isn't going to help, is it?
No. 6th of June is when we officially get our share to be in the Premier League. So that's hopefully when things like Fatawu signing will be out of EFL jurisdiction then, so the transfer embargo finishes. So yeah, it's all going to be a bit chaotic. Talking about being chaotic, the show always is, and that's why I absolutely love it. My favourite show that we do. Just to let everybody know, as I said earlier, this is the last one we are going to be doing
That's our favourite, it is.
Yeah, we're being asked, Steve.
I feel a bit like an old Radio 2 DJ, you know. Great show, great stuff, but bye.
Well, you're not being outed, you're just being moved. You know,
I'm been outed for years.
There's no show next week because we're doing the build up to the Euros. So a week on Friday, it is the Euros kicking off. A week on Friday, the transfer window opens. Moving on from that, and I have to say that moving it to Wednesday, Kate's not going to be with us for half of these because she's not here on a Wednesday. But it will obviously be sporadic up until the new season kicking off. And then obviously I'm not going to be here for 5 weeks while I'm in Australia, so there'll be no show anyway. But no, there we go. Wednesdays at 7:30. Join us for the next ones, whenever that is. Dave.
Chris.
Thanks for coming on, sir. Where
can
people find you? There we go.
Well, actually, nowhere yet. But surreyhillsradio.co.uk is the place to listen to all the music, old and new, and some silly old farts.
Are you on this week?
No, next week.
Next week. Dave and Kathy's show, Wednesdays at 5 o'clock, I believe.
Thursdays.
That's why I couldn't find you.
I might be on a show on Thursday, actually, talking about the history of the radio. I can't remember what it's called.
Yes, you are. I've seen somewhere that you are being interviewed.
Oh, am I? Do you know what time?
Yes. I don't know.
I think it's 1 o'clock on Thursday. Yeah, 1 o'clock on Thursday.
You are one of the interviewees next week.
Free Your Spirit.
Yeah,
it's called.
You and Tony Blair, apparently, allegedly.
Yeah, indeed.
Kate, where can people follow you?
Hang on, let me get a pen.
They can find me at Kate Blakey 40 on Twitter.
There we go.
My mate's just sent me quite a funny message about Enzo, which I feel like I need to read out. He said that, let me find it now. I wonder if he'll outlast a lettuce because Liz Truss didn't.
Very true. Very, very. Who sent you that?
My mate.
Oh, if you get him on. Guys, thank you very much. We're going to look. Carry on, Dave. Sorry.
I say you could probably do a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I got that. Sorry, I was a bit slow there, but I got that. Said your mate could probably do a Wednesday because you can't.
I can. I'll be here.
Oh, good. I should miss you if you're not. And your mum.
He said, "Yeah, I can actually. I can't do Tuesdays, but I can do Wednesdays." And because I got asked once,
I offered Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Oh, it's all coming out now, isn't it?
And Dave couldn't do Tuesdays.
No, Tuesday's not good.
No. I was once asked my availability to manage a football club in Sheffield. I said I can't do Wednesdays. Thank you, Vine, for that one.
Can't do jokes either.
Hurtful. But look, we'll be doing different shows at different times during the summer. There'll all be different ones, and shows will be popping up when we
all over the place. Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm that's off at the moment.
Miss BBC.
Well, no, that's.
I'm on tomorrow morning on the breakfast show. I'm on tomorrow morning on the breakfast show at 7:30 in the morning.
Well, will you give him a kick up the arse? Because I've replied to him saying any news, and he's read it, and he's not replied to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll ask him if I can. I don't know. I'm literally on for like a couple of minutes, so I don't know if I'll speak to him outside of the recording.
2 minutes. So. 2 minutes is fine.
You can do it twice in that time, can't you, Dave?
In the older days, the younger days, whatever.
He's built for speed, was Dave.
Okay, right. Good night.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Kate. See you soon. All the best. Thanks for coming.
See you guys. Take care.
Bye-bye. There we go. Thanks to Dave and thanks to Kate there. And thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. Really do appreciate it. Let's hope now we can move on from this and talk about something other than Enzo. We can talk about a different manager every different show, probably. But no, thanks very much. And thanks to everybody that was in the chat. Really do appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock for Two Fans Down the Pub. You know what that's like. And we'll be talking Enzo. And then after that, I promise you there will be no more Enzo talk. If you have been listening to this via your favourite podcast platform, thank you very much indeed. If you're watching it on catch up, please add any comments in the details below on YouTube, and do subscribe to the chat to the channel. It is free to do that, and it really does help us. And smash the likes, because that is even freer if that is at all possible, and that really does help the channel as well. I will see you, like I say, tomorrow at 7 from a pub close to me. I'll see you then. Thanks very much. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.